Number 1. I live in a small town kind of sandwiched between 3 slightly larger towns, and my house happens to sit in a valley near a trestle that can take you to all of them depending on which way you're going. The valley is extremely dark at night, as there aren't many streetlights, only about one every other mile. On top of that, there are a lot of straightaways between it and my house, with one road in particular going straight for about 3 miles. There are lots of farms, and because of the drug house near me, it's not uncommon nowadays for random crackheads to be walking up and down this road at night. My girlfriend lives in one of the larger towns that surrounds mine, and it's about a 25-minute drive to get to her house. One night, as I was taking her home, I saw a few cars parked underneath this trestle, a little bit to the side of the only street light there. It's not uncommon to see cars parked there, and I didn't think much of it. There were people outside of the cars talking to each other. I'll never forget what I saw on my way back from dropping my girlfriend off. As I was coming down the off-ramp, I saw that one of the vehicles was still there, and propped up against the stop sign was what was very obviously a person, completely wrapped in a black bag, on their feet. Though they seemed tied together, I could still see their shoes. Not a lot of traffic comes through that area, and gang activity is common because it's concealed from everyone that doesn't live in one of the 2 houses there, and they have a ton of branching escape routes if someone calls the cops. They can get on the trestle, which has 3 different exits you can almost immediately take. They can go on a long road that runs parallel to the trestle, and would allow them to take one of the 4 different roads that leads to different towns or the freeway, or they can go the direction that leads to where I live. Again, with multiple roads that can take them through a few wooded areas or straight into town. It's the perfect spot for people to commit crimes like this. I called the cops, but I didn't stick around. I could tell that whoever set this person up was watching. They were right there, right in the only lit area for miles if you weren't on the trestle. I had a huge feeling of dread sitting over me. I waited until a little bit past a bend where you could no longer see the area to call the police, not wanting to spook whoever was doing this and make them leave with a kidnapped person, or try to stop me from making the call in the first place. After I hung up and the police said that they were sending someone before I made it home, I decided I would turn around after all and see this through. I felt ashamed that I hadn't been there the whole time. And I wanted to make sure that if someone came along to load that person up, I could see them and follow them if they gave the cops the slip. When I got back, the bag and the car were both gone. I had been absent for almost 2 or 3 minutes, and someone had gotten that person in their vehicle and driven off. When the police got there, I told them what I saw, but they didn't seem to be taking anything I had said seriously. They said that they would look into it, but I don't think they ever did. Every so often, I think about who that person was, and whether or not I could have saved them, or if I made the right call by not staying there for whatever happened, or even if the person I saw was still alive at that point in time. Having a person out in the open like that told me that they didn't care if anyone saw what they were doing, and that part worried me the most. I hope they're okay. Number 2. This went on over the course of a year, with the last incident taking place in December of 2016. I used to own this green 1998 Toyota Camry. It was my grandmother's until she gifted it to my parents, who eventually gave it to me as my first car. It was nice and reliable, but I have a bad habit of letting my cars accumulate a bunch of stuff before cleaning them out. Because I still live with my parents, they would use the car from time to time if they needed it. One day, I noticed a bunch of fishing lines with hooks on them in the back of my car on one of the rare occasions that I clean it out. A bunch of the hooks are embedded into the upholstery, and more are between the creases on the seat. It takes me a while to get them all out, and I almost pricked myself several times doing it. I have no idea how long they were there for, as the last time I'd cleaned this much out of my car was months ago. At any rate, I'm annoyed. At first I thought my dad had put them there, as he had recently used my car to transport a bunch of old junk for a garage sale. I asked him about it, but he told me he's never seen any fishing hooks or any lines in any of the old stuff of ours, and nobody in my family even fishes, so it didn't make any sense for us to have it. He's also the only other person that had used my car at all in the past year or two. I'm the kind of person who locks up everything, every night. I triple check my car doors, and if I'm even a little uncertain as to whether or not I locked up, I will go back to my car and check it, no matter the inconvenience. I also park it where I can see it from my bedroom window and hear if anyone tampers with it, so I doubted anyone could have broken in and just assumed that my dad missed it and didn't think anything more of it, until a month later when I found even more fish hooks in my back seat. At this point I asked my dad about it again, but he figures that I'm either pulling a weird prank on him or someone is breaking into my car. I wonder though, why anyone would break into my car, not steal anything out of it, and leave fishing hooks instead. It just didn't make any sense to me. To give you an idea of how weird this is, I live in a neighborhood where everyone knows everyone. We all talk and even have a private Facebook group that started due to a drug house at the end of the street cropping up, though at this point it wasn't active, and a sort of a neighborhood watch group that always posts whenever something suspicious happens. So I don't have any neighbors that I don't know for miles, and none of the ones I do know are this shady. Again, without any explanation or clear motive, as the days and weeks pass, it fades to the back of my head. I get a new job selling mattresses, as I had been unemployed focusing on school for a while, and move out of my parents' house to live with my girlfriend. This is where things turn from weird to extremely unsettling. One night, we decide to go to a nearby Winco to get something to make food with, and I notice that my back seat has a bunch of fishing lines and hooks in it again. Startled, I look around for any sign of someone being nearby. I tell her to get back in the house, and I sit up and stare at my car until morning comes from our bedroom window, after triple checking every door and window to ensure that they are all locked, but I don't see anyone or anything. I get ready for work, and she gets ready for her college courses, and we leave. The store I was working at during this time had a weird L-shaped design to it, with two different entrances and a cafe taking up the space between them. There was one entrance that was easily visible from the front desk, and another that you would have to get back to go see. As I was closing up the night after the last incident, I go to turn off the open signs and see that in the center of the obscured hallway an entire row of fishing line, coiled up, but with some of the line leading to the door, where a pile of hooks sat. I had no customers that day, and never heard the door alarm go off. I then noticed someone had turned the door alarms off, but neither I nor my only co-worker had ever tampered with the device before then, and it was behind the front desk. I was shaking at this point. Someone had been stalking me and leaving these lines, but I had no idea what to do. Call the police? Other than the fishing lines and hooks, there was really nothing to trace back to anyone. My store had no cameras, and corporate would never agree to installing them. Neither my family nor my girlfriend's family could afford security cameras either. I figured the best that I could do would be not to appear as frightened as I was, in case whoever was doing this was watching me. I thought that if something like this didn't make me go about my day any differently, and I didn't give whatever reaction this person was looking for, that they would give up and go away. For several months I would find fishing lines and hooks in my car, despite it being locked and my parents being the only people with extra keys, being much too busy with the construction of their new house to take time out of their day to prank me. Once or twice I would leave notes in my car asking whoever it was why they were doing this, and to stop. I would find the notes gone whenever the lines and hooks appeared, but with no response. Eventually, after a series of misunderstandings and disagreements with her family, I decided to move out of my girlfriend's house and moved in with a couple of friends into their apartment until my parents' new house could be completed. The very last time that I had an encounter with the lines and hooks, I came home from work to find them strewn about in the living room. Stuff was knocked over and a few things broken, but nothing was taken. My friend, his girlfriend, and their baby were all gone at the time, so no one was home when this happened, save for his cat, which were absolutely spooked and wouldn't come out from under his bed for hours. I still don't know what this person wants or wanted, why they were stalking me in the first place, or what the fishing lines and hooks meant. No one I knew is huge into fishing, and I especially go out of my way not to make enemies or cross people, even purposely giving people more than I take from them so that I don't see them like I'm out for myself. I really don't know if it was someone I know or a stranger really good at covering their tracks and freaking people out. All I know is that I will have anxiety over this for the rest of my life, and I routinely stay up until 4 or 5 in the morning because in addition to several other traumatizing experiences, this has made every bump in the night a potential threat to me. It's been almost 9 months since I've seen anything more from this person, but instead of feeling better, I feel more uneasy that someone followed me through that many changes in my life and didn't do anything further than breaking into my work and my friend's house, but that at any time they could because no safety measures seemed to be able to deter them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the listen. I'm shaking as I'm typing this. I haven't really talked in great detail with anyone about it because just describing it makes me feel like a loon. Not only that, but I don't want to worry my friends and family when there is nothing they can do about it, or vindicate them if it's one of them that pulled a prank on me. This will likely be a mystery that I never see solved.